Last night, I dreamt I went to Chinatown Fair again. I traveled there by train on a clear evening. The moon was hidden, and the city showed nothing in the way of malice. After all these years, the path to the arcade was ingrained, even in dreams. As I stood in front of the doors, I could smell the arcade. The smell was a primordial memory, hidden deep in my mind, somewhere beyond time and space, and somehow, in my dream, I connected with this distant and abstract memory. I had next. The quarter was my wager. It embodied the game, the goal, which could be won or lost. All my pride and my disappointment and my joy was held in that quarter. I had next. My quarter was lost into the deep abyss, plunked away with the hundreds of other quarters that fed the arcade. There was no way to get it back, for Chinatown Fair was no more.
Chinatown Fair was the last arcade in New York City. The last arcade that made money from people putting quarters in machines and playing them. There was no bar or food, just games. The crowd was mostly teenagers, born after the arcade boom of the 1980s, so the scene was not about nostalgia. Video games of every type lined the walls of the L-shaped room. On the red brick wall above the games, next to the Terminator, was a hand-painted sign that read "No loitering," which was exactly what most of the people were doing. Hanging out, waiting for their turn to play. I began filming at Chinatown Fair after hearing a rumor that the arcade was closing. That's when I met Anthony Cali Jr. He was shooting photographs of his friends when he saw me with my camera and introduced himself.
That's how it's gonna be, man. We the East Coast folks right here, you know what I'm saying? New school and old school generation together. That's the way it's gonna be.
He told me that his parents first brought him to Chinatown Fair as a child, and that he grew up in the place.
Third strike players right here. Well, not everybody, but...
After meeting Anthony, the story of the arcade began to emerge.
I wanted to be one of the at least few people to really capture the arcade's closing. I didn't know how to adjust the light settings and all of that, but, you know, I just was like, fuck it, if it comes out blurry, I'm just gonna take it, because it's gonna be the last time I see a lot of these people. You know, I knew I wasn't gonna see most of them after that, so.
This is my homegirl, Sarah. She was like one of the people I used to play DDR with. She used to like kind of train me in it. This is one of my oldest friends too, Tori. It's funny because he's like actually one of the best DDR players in there right now. He doesn't look like it though, like, cause he's a bouncer at clubs, so you never would think that a bouncer at a club would play DDR, but he plays it because he just don't care. It's just a game. Like, is it gonna hurt somebody? You know?
It was a pretty grimy place, but that's kind of why I liked it. It kind of captured that like old New York feel, which was basically grime. I'm born into that, so it was not a problem for me at all. I kind of liked it the way it looked. I remember like walking into it, and I would just be so excited to see somebody there that I knew. I'm like, yes, the night's gonna be great.
Everybody had a certain group in there. Like, there would be a top player, a fashionable dude, a beautiful girl. You know, that's how it was.
It was one of the few places where I ever felt that I can be myself. Here's this book that I was waiting a while to get. It's pretty much some photos taken from 1980 to 2010 in my neighborhood, which is Lower East Side. And I really got the book because it had a picture of the building that I grew up in, which is this building right here. I would go through this rubble to go to my school, which is across the street. We used to play a lot of games back there. We played like stickball, we played handball, we played basketball, we played manhunt. In a way, I kind of miss seeing that because it was what I grew up with. But I'm sure it's not really a good thing. Like, hey, I went to my friend's house and just fucking burning garbage cans behind his building and shit like that. I didn't care if there was like pimps and prostitutes and drug dealers. I had my games there, so that kind of took my mind off of that.
He would just come by the window, yo, Daddy, I need $1 in quarters. I'm gonna go to St. Mark's and play the game. So I would throw down, like I had to roll the quarters and throw them out. Then I'll come back later, yo, Daddy,
He used to roll the fucking quarters and tape.
Yeah, I had them prepared already because I said,
in a piece of like
he's gonna drive me crazy.
medical tape.
So I'll flip him out the window, then he'll run to St. Mark's, play his games, come back 2 hours later and get 4 more quarters, you know? But he made the quarters last, so that was a good thing. That's how I knew he was
I
good.
go there with like $1 fucking. I stayed there for like 5 hours because I was always kicking people's asses
Yeah.
and that shit.
I was into pinball myself, you know? I used to play pinball a lot, but I used to go in the bars and play.
The old gem spot. Yeah, so right here, Gem Spot was one of the spots a lot of cats used to come to play games. Yo, Zoltar, the great.
And I can see your fortune.
This is the only game they got now. It's fucking whack.
So they used to be right over here?
Yeah, they were like right here. They were backed against that wall, and then 2 here facing the opposite side and shit like that. Yeah. When it was raining, the rain would just hit the machine, so like when you played the game, the screws on the game would kind of like electric shock you, so it was like a static shock. But yeah, we used, like a lot of the cast used to meet up over there, and I guess like around 98, all the games were gone. Yeah. Then I started going to Chinatown Fair and didn't stop going there after that.
Chinatown, it is a little small town in the middle of New York City. And dead center in the middle of that was Chinatown Fair. Then above it was the Port Arthur restaurant, which was one of our finest restaurants in Chinatown of the time. They had furniture with pearl inlay. It was quite beautiful. It was very special. And then Chinatown Fair was on the first floor, was just jammed with goodies. You know, you walk in and play crazy little games like skee ball, the thing where you could win prizes with the crane dropping down. There was a really crappy, fun museum in the back. They called it a museum, but it wasn't much of a museum, and it was kind of a joke for tourists. You pay $0.25 or something and you go see it. The legendary Dancing Chicken was there then.
It's the world-famous dancing and tic-tac-toe chickens of Mott Street. If you can beat the chicken, you bring home a bag of fortune cookies. But good luck. These chickens were trained by former students of none other than famed behaviorist B.F. Skinner. Hey kid, why do you think the chickens dance?
Put in the money, there's a heater that burns up the butter and makes it very hot, and he just dances around.
All right, man, why do they get in the groove?
Because they hear the music, they start to dance. When the music stops, then they go in for their food. That's their reward. That's how they're fed.
Wow, I bet they can't get too much to eat, can they?
No, if you overfeed them, they die of a heart attack.
By the late 1970s, Chinatown had become a dangerous neighborhood plagued with high crime. There were fewer tourists venturing to the area. A number of new arcades opened in the city, following the success of Space Invaders in 1979. The biggest and most popular arcades were in Times Square, 50 blocks uptown from Chinatown.
New York City does nothing halfway. If you look at how Times Square was from the 70s and the 80s, it's a city that does things bright, loud, and wonderful. And so the arcades were that as well. They were the kind of places where, for a small amount of money, a few quarters, you could get hours of entertainment with your friends. It was perfect. Try to imagine a world where this week it was Centipede, and the next week it was Defender, and the week after that it was Frogger, and the week after that Pac-Man. You know, that's magical.
By 1981, there were 24,000 arcades in America. It was the golden age of arcades. Despite the growing popularity of video games, Chinatown Fair struggled to compete with the Times Square arcades, which were bigger and centrally located. In 1982, Chinatown Fair was put up for sale.
I never stepped in the arcade before. I never knew what is the video game is. I saw an arcade in the dream. I saw this store and money was shooting out from the store, you know, on the road. I saw an arcade in the dream. So I told my friend, what is this? I saw money coming, shooting out on the road from the arcade. He says, okay, Sam, come. So he got the newspaper. He says, let's see.
Little that he knew that his friend was already looking at this business sometime. So when he took him to that place and Sam stands, I said, this is what I saw in my dream.
First time I saw the arcade, for me, it was very surprising, very strange thing. I never knew that people put money and they play the game.
He had no idea of running an arcade, no clue whatsoever. And how everything just happened, that's only the good Lord knows it, I tell you the truth.
I adopted myself, how to run the business, how to handle the people. I was not dealing with the machines, because machines I knew I could fix, but I was dealing with human beings. I never had any problem with them, never.
My earliest arcade memory when I was 9. If I got off school, I would have to wait outside. That was the only thing I could do back then. And Instead of waiting in the cold back then, I said, I'll go in the arcade and stay warm. Everyone's playing games. They're all shaking their bodies, they're sweating. I was like, what's going on here? I couldn't get the grasp of what is this? You know, why are people playing these games? That was interesting. I used to just go and see if stay there for a few hours, hang out there until the end of the night, almost every day because, you know, can't go back home.
And why was that?
Because I couldn't go home.
Why?
I didn't have the keys. You can't open the door. I always asked them, I'm 14 now. Why don't I have a key? My friends have keys. You don't trust me? I was like, no, that's what they said. The first time I met Sam was, he was tired one day and says, would you like to sweep the floor for me? And I was like, sweep the floor? Are you paying me? And then he said, yes, I'll give you $5. And I was like, ooh, $5, that's a meal back then. And a drink.
Henry was the unique person among all the employees, you know, unique person. I could depend on him. I could leave money and everything and walk out for him. I depended so much on him. He was very honest with me. The money was not the factor for him. He was not coming for money alone, but something else, you know.
It was the allure of the sounds and the flashing screens. I was fascinated with electronics, how this machine operates, how they made it. Because when you open it, there's tons of wires and what do they do? There's tons of mechanics. What is this stuff?
He was the one who was like addicted to games, you know. He wanted me to change the machines, bring in the new games so that he could play the games.
I would spend more time playing pinball back then because pinball was even more fascinating. So much stuff moving, and if the ball never goes down the hole, you keep on playing forever. I was working at Chinatown Fair, and all the other arcades were still open back then, and CF was completely dead. I would tell you how bad is it. From 6 p.m., there's only me, Sam, maybe some local kids and some tourists playing a couple of games. There were so many other arcades you can go to besides Chinatown Fair. Why would you go to Chinatown Fair? It's like in the middle of nowhere back then. It's in the middle of Chinatown. Like, why would you go there to play arcades? If you want to play the newest games back then, everyone would tell you, you have to go to Times Square, you would have to go to Penn Station, or you have to go to Burger Arcade.
These guys were basically the titans. They had all machines. They had the crowds, and they were in Times Square, so it was really like, you know, it was easy to get to. It was like so many ways of transportation to get to them, so they had it down locked.
CF was not a popular arcade. It wasn't popping. There wasn't a lot of customers coming in new because there's a lot of segregation back then still, you know, like between neighborhoods.
If you were not Chinese and in Chinatown Fair, you were a target by every gang in Chinatown.
You felt the hand go in your pocket, there were two reactions. Either A, you fought, or B, you let it happen because you didn't want to get jumped.
You had all these guys with leather jackets and spiky hair, and I'm like, okay, he looks like he's part of something or he's looking for trouble.
During these years, Sam did what he could to get by. Occasional tourists came to see the chickens, and the random film shoot brought in extra money. In 1984, Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep shot a scene at Chinatown Fair for the movie Falling in Love. The Late Show with David Letterman brought the tic-tac-toe chicken to their studio.
All right, the chicken makes the first move. Go, babe. The chicken makes the...
And in 1995, Wu-Tang Clan member Old Dirty Bastard shot his music video for the song Brooklyn Zoo.
Dirty old bastard. Yeah. I was surprised with the name, but I had to make money, so I let him do the things.
You gon' love this. I'm the one-man army liaison. I never been taken out. I keep MCs looking out. I drop flyers like Crosby dropping babies. Enough to make a nigga go crazy.
I've always liked that video games are challenging. I like doing that thing that's hard to do. I don't mind working for it. Back then, I might not have thought of it as an escape. For me, it was just, oh, I want to play video games. But I understood, like, as long as I could go play something, after I played, I was all right. I can say that the way I came up, no kid should have to come up. The first foster home I was in, at first the lady was nice, but her daughter didn't like any of the foster kids, and she didn't like me either. So that started to create a poisonous element in the house. And it became to the point where I was the problem. Everything was my fault. And it's like, you know, I'm not gonna put up with this. I'm not gonna tolerate this. I don't have to take this. I just started living on the street. In the daytime, I would go on the train and sweep because I didn't want to get picked up by truancy. But at night, the arcade. Wandering from Central Park to Port Authority one day, I stumbled on a playland. I went inside, I saw all the games, so I was like, oh, this place is cool. And then sometimes, you know, I saw that people would drop quarters. I'm like, okay, so there's money here too. And then I got to the point where I got a little more bold and I would start going underneath the machines looking for quarters, and I'd find a lot of quarters. And I was like, oh, wow. So I can spend half of this on food and half of this on games. And then that ratio kind of got fucked up because then it would become 90% on games and 10% on food. And it was like, I didn't really care though, you know? One night, one of the guys just like, he said, you know, I see you here all the time diving under the machines. Like, what's up? Is everything okay? It's like, where do you live? I was like, I was hesitant to talk. I was like, but I knew he probably wouldn't say anything because he see me all the time and he hadn't said anything yet. So I spilled my guts. I told him I ran away from a foster home, blah, 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 living on the streets. And he was like, well, we have a couch downstairs, and if you want to help out, you can. And I was like, okay. So I lived in Playland for a little while. And it was like a brown leather couch in the basement. It was all right. Times Square didn't mean anything to me other than Playland and arcades and places to eat. Now it's a bunch of stores and a bunch of lights and no arcades. That's the worst part. This used to be Playland. Well, I want the cake. Yeah, I want the cake, but I want my arcades back.
The first one that closed down was Time Out and Penn Station Break. The next one following within the same year was Brewery Arcade. They closed down because they lost their lease. Only Playland was left. And then that closed down. And then there was no arcade.
By the 1990s, arcades across America were closing. People were playing video games at home, not at arcades. There had been home consoles before, but in 1986, the Nintendo Entertainment System was released and proved how great the potential was for home consoles.
The video games at home became as good or better than the video games that you were going to pay money for. If they were good games, they would take you months to play. They didn't have to turn everything into a slugfest. They could be emotional, they could be long, they could be interactive in a way that you could stretch out over hours. So it didn't take long for them to murder arcade games.
I didn't like playing at home that much because at home you can't share your experiences. You only share with yourself. You know, like if you're playing a game like, yeah, I beat it finally, and you turn around and it's like, it's only me, you know.
The console just wasn't as fulfilling for certain people as the arcades. That whole chess match, that whole pitting your skill against other people, either you didn't have it and you quit, or you wanted it and you decided to pursue wherever it went. It was like, okay, where does everybody go now to play? And like, oh, we all go to Chinatown.
What happened was Chinatown Fair was the last arcade in Manhattan. The last. And that's when people started coming down. A lot of people that I used to know that couldn't find an arcade, I told them, like, hey, go to Chinatown Fair, there's only one.
Sam had kept Chinatown Fair open by keeping costs down. He worked 7 days a week and did most of the maintenance on the games himself. He was also lucky that rent in Chinatown had remained low compared to the rest of the city.
After Playland closed, we went over to CF. And, well, they had everything that I had played before and everything that I had read in magazines but never got to play. And it was just like, holy shit, this place is great.
People coming from everywhere and anywhere, you know, to play at the arcade. This was the place to be.
Of games. There were the rhythm gamers, the racers, the shooters, and the fighters, which more than any other group came to define Chinatown Fair.
Chinatown Fair had this like rumor go around like the best players play at Chinatown. But then of course the best players play at Chinatown. There's no other arcade to play at. And then I think a lot of people will start coming down and start to see that it was true. And they started to build up this kind of mystique about the place.
This was the spot for Street Fighter. I mean, this is the spot for Marvel. This is Marvel country right here. Everybody comes in, play to 2, 3 in the morning. Sometimes have to talk to the manager like, please don't close yet, please don't close yet. If we had a lot of people that were playing, we would be open. We would be open. It was entertainment. When one person would lose, there would be another person who had their quarter up, ready to go right after. People would just line up, put their money up, get close, feel like they have it. That's how the arcade scene flourished.
It became this thing every Friday. It was this group of Marvel players. They'd come down. They were called the Syndicate. And people would come from out of state and play them. The rest of the arcade might as well have been silent compared to all the noise that was coming from over in the Marvel 2. There'd be money matches where people would play a set and people on the other side watching and betting. Those were where some of the best matches and rivalries were born. Monday through Friday, we'd be closing 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, every day. Saturday, 3, 4 o'clock. Friday, maybe even 5. Sam would want to close, and he would call his grandson, and his grandson would come to pick him up. And he'd just be like, you know what, there's so many people here and they're playing, fuck it. And he'd leave it open for another hour. I was almost always there. And then I started working there, and that was it.
Tell me about how you started working there.
I begged for a job. If you tell somebody, yeah, man, my best friend's a 65-year-old Pakistani man, and you're like 14, they're like, oh, what the fuck? But in my case, my best friend was a 65-year-old Pakistani man.
I knew that he has no other place. He comes here to play the game, and I wanted to help him. And I cannot help him by simply giving money. I wanted to teach him. If you work, you get money.
Man, I was hired and fired on 13 different occasions. I was hired.
That was the tactics I used to use so that he could come out as a good man again. But I knew he will be coming, so I was waiting there for him.
the way I came up. I didn't really trust anybody, I didn't really want to deal with anybody, I didn't want to talk to anybody. Sam was the only adult that I wasn't scared of. As a kid, it was really hard to find an adult that you could just talk to about anything. For me, that was Sam. And that's something that every kid should have. For almost as long as I had been there had been rumors that, oh, CF is gonna close down. And I had to say, no, where'd you hear this? We're doing fine, we're not going anywhere. And then, we weren't doing fine. More and more games, more and more fighting games that, were the driving force behind our business came out on console first. And less of those games were getting arcade releases.
There's no reason to drive people to the arcades first anymore, or much less of a reason and much shorter of a time period for the arcades to try and recoup the money on those expensive arcade cabinets before it hits home, and then they have to, compete against players who just rather play at their home.
In 2007, Capcom, producer of the Street Fighter series, announced that Street Fighter IV was in production. To the dismay of the arcade industry in America, Capcom revealed that Street Fighter IV would not have an arcade release in the United States. The game would be released for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. It was the first time a new Street Fighter would not be in American arcades. Henry Sen was determined to bring the game to Chinatown Fair. Because cabinets were not being imported, Henry built custom cabinets with parts he bought from China.
So instead of buying them from Japan, I built these cabinets in my garage. It was made out of wood.
He succeeded in bringing the game to Chinatown Fair 8 months before the home console version was even for sale in the US. When news spread that Chinatown Fair had the game, people came from all over to play. There were long lines, crowds of people watching, and Sam kept the arcade open late. It was like this for 8 months, until the game came out for the Xbox and PlayStation.
A lot of the current gamers, they won't experience or appreciate what we had. You'll never have that experience of a pat on the back, a handshake, respect, all that. You'll never get that anymore. What's going on, man? How you doing? But yeah, I knew this guy for years, man. I knew Peter for years. So now hearing that this is closing, we gotta find another spot to migrate to. We gotta find it. It has to happen. If it doesn't, we're done.
If they ever started coming to see us in January of 2010, and since then, 2010 has been the best year of my life for this place. I met so many people, had so many adventures, I have so much fucking heartwarming memories. I do not want to lose this thing. I do not want to relocate because I was too over everything. No.
If I had to open an arcade, I'll do it. If I have to do something just to make a community, I'll do it. Whatever it takes, I'll do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man.
Because I feel very comfortable with these people. Yes. Very comfortable. I belong here. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
right. All right.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, CF. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for the past 30 years, man. Game over, baby.
The morning after Sam lowered and locked the gate at 8 Mott Street for the last time, the first epitaph appeared. Within a few weeks, the gate was entirely covered in writing. The corrugated metal was transformed into a memorial. Many of the messages addressed the arcade as if it had been a person. A few were angry that it had left them.
I don't want to sign the gate. I don't want to. Because to me, that would be me saying, okay, I'm done. And I'm not going to do that. Me and my family got kind of separated at a young age. So I didn't really get to know my brothers. A lot of my friends, they became my families. Most of the time, I'd call them my brothers. I have about 9 or 10 brothers. Like, these are just really, really good friends of mine who can do no wrong in my world. They're just absolutely great people. And I met most of them at CF. All I want to do is stroke his chin, but he has to bite me. He's not actually trying to hurt you. This is just how he responds to everything. Right? They don't listen. They're stubborn. They ignore you until they want you, so you feed them. And this is how they respond to attention, with violence and aggression. See, now he wants to be pet. Right? One of the first people I started trouble with at CF, and I'll admit to starting it, was with John Gordon. I thought I was pretty good at Alpha 2, so I wanted to play John Gordon. He beat me in the game, and he made me aware that I sucked. And I kept coming back at him week after week after week, getting better and better, but still couldn't beat him. To this day, I think I have 1 victory over Flash total. My need to beat him made me keep going back and hanging around with him and playing against him and whatever. That's how every friendship in an arcade starts. It's like, oh, damn, that was pretty good. How'd you do that? Or you're watching somebody else play, oh my God, you beat that guy's ass. How'd you do that? And then they explain to you the game, and they break it down, and they tell you the pros and cons. That's all it takes.
Fuck, yo!
Every time that I went to CF, I was happy as hell. It was the one place where I didn't feel like anything was wrong. I was actually happy there.
Let me tell you, fixing these games were a pain in the ass. As you see, there's not a lot of room here at CF, and when I used to pull the machine out, imagine me pulling the machine out, I have to turn it this way to fix it. All the customers will always bump into me when I'm fixing a game, so that was not cool. This color is fire hydrant red, if no one knows. If you could get, like, the color of it is fire hydrant red. Usually when people do, like, vandalism or graffiti, we just spray paint over it. The chicken is actually the tic-tac-toe chicken. The animal activists came. They brought her to their farm in upstate New York. I hope the chicken's doing well. This chicken was very funny because we used to make stink bombs. from her eggs. And that was very intriguing. We kept like eggs like inside the bathroom, and we used to put them all the way to the top of the corner and wait till like April Fools to go get these eggs that the chicken laid, and we used to throw them at people unexpectedly. But that was a long time ago. That's around it. I used to play a lot of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. I started getting very serious about it because I used to work it every day, and I see all these guys come and play, and I go, I could beat these guys. There were a lot of brand new games coming out in like the late 90s to early 2000s. And here at Chinatown Fair, I think we had a new game every month. Everyone was changing games, playing like Street Fighter one day, then they were playing a new Geo game the next month. And then it started to die down economically. I offered Sam money to buy it up. He said no, and I told him like, I'm only doing this because I care about the future of the business and the community. You know, I don't want the community to die.
There is a time for everything, time to laugh, time to go, time to die, you know. No, so I was prepared for it. I tried to hold it as long as I could. The arcade was in my eyes. Every day I was dreaming about arcade, that the arcade is open, I'm going back there.
And even after it closed up, he was still thinking, how can he still had faith.
One day I'm gonna get it back. One day I'm gonna get it back.
Maybe we can put it back together, like, you know, but it was hard.
He left a big part of Sam there in Chinatown Fair. I still see it. You know, you spend almost half of your life in a place. This is part of him. This is who he is. This is what he was, and he'll ever be. If it was for the money, greed of money, he would have closed down and moved on to a different business many years ago, long time ago. It was just he was so connected with that was his family. That was his one big family, Chinatown family. This is my take. I don't remember that he spent that much time with my sisters and me. He was always busy, company trips and always on travel and all. What we missed out, Chinatown Fair got it from him. You know, missed out going places with him, missed out going school play things and whatever. And I believe those kids in Chinatown received all that was due to me and my sisters. So he probably was fulfilling what was inside of him and releasing that, made up for that. So,
well, sometimes you do. You feel that you miss them. People and friends, you know, you have there. But it's the same thing, like you have a kid, he grows up at home, and the time comes, he marries, and he leaves home. See?
In an issue of Kill Screen magazine, a journal dedicated to exploring the culture of video games, I read a story that reminded me of the spirit of Chinatown Fair. The story was written by Jamin Warren, the magazine's founder.
Last year, I had the pleasure of visiting the former British colony of Barbados.
In it, he recounts a trip he took to Barbados. One day, while walking around Bridgetown, he saw a familiar sight, a Nintendo 64 logo in the window of a nondescript building. His curiosity carried him inside, where he came upon a small shop full of kids playing video games on PlayStations and Xboxes. Jamin had discovered an arcade. The owner was a young man and he explained that in Barbados, most kids can't afford to own their own systems. So they came to his shop to play.
He charged all who came $1 to play their favorite video games. Makeshift arcades, like this one in the center of Bridgetown, exist as one of the few places that kids could actually play video games with one another. Some travel an hour by bus to this strange and quiet little outpost to play games. The call to play is too powerful to ignore. That was so weird. That was the strangest little thing to kind of see these kids in a totally different context of my own, doing essentially the same thing that I did as a kid and sitting huddled around a television, saving up money, making sure they had their $1 so that they could go play for an hour. The public play issue was our opportunity to say, play is something that predates this era that we call video games, and that there are things that happen, particularly around arcades in terms of like social interaction. These are things that I think will happen in the future. The closing of the Chinatown Fair was not the end of arcades. It just meant that there's gonna be a new generation, such as this tiny little place in the center of Bridgetown in a small country like Barbados.
It's not a family fun center. You're not here to get tickets and laugh, spend time with the family. You're here to train, you're here to get better, you're here for competition.
I dropped the same combo twice. Oh my God. Are you serious? I suck. It's actually doing better that this place is open. Since CF closed, everybody doesn't know where to go. But I guess this place, it's doing good. There's a lot of competition, and along with the tournament that happened, now people actually know about this place.
Respect is one of the most important things in life. That's what I think, why people come to play competitive gaming, because they want to be acknowledged for something, Someone calling me? What? Random reset, random reset. I gotta deal with it. It's changed. It's different.
We have drinks here at the start when you come in, so you get some drinks if you're thirsty.
Someone's Chinese food is here. Please come to the front.
And we also
Someone's Chinese food is here. Please come to the front.
We also have a table area where you can sit and eat, converse, talk about your matches or upcoming matches. Some people are waiting for their matches playing Connect 4.
Where did this come from?
This actually came from Chinatown Fair. I bought it because it's one of my favorite pieces too. I like In the Groove. This is Ben Fong. He's doing some repairs on the machine, constantly doing maintenance to make sure everything's working right. This large area back here is a stream area. We stream the tournament here each week so people can watch online live. The numbers are constantly growing. 8,000 to 10,000 people watch every Wednesday. Streaming is actually a new advent to the community, and it's influenced the players that want to come. They bring hype to the store. They also bring hype to the game. It's a big aspect of the business these days. We basically make money off the venue fee. So when people come here, they have to pay $3 per hour for the first hour and $2.50 onwards. And we basically run a lot of our games off the Xbox system and the PlayStation 3. But we generally do that because it's more affordable. Some people prefer the cabinets because it brings back the arcade feel. That's it. But in today's reality, it's nostalgia is not really quite that profitable.
Please listen for your name and the station. You get those things right, you'll have no problems. When Henry was first planning to open next level, I was like, well, CF is closing. If you open a new place, I'm on board. The venue fee kind of split the CF community, but the people who came for the games and for the community, they come. Fat Brog and Lee Chung to the stream station. You guys are starting off the AE stream.
It's tough. Not easy. Yes. New York's finest. And one of the best, man. Yeah, I mean, one of the best. Kevin is the best style in the world, in my opinion. Okay, yeah. I think so. You think so too, right? His cigar is ridiculous also. Sanford's cigar. Oh yeah, Sanford's cigar. Come on. So the best.
We'll see. What? What's we'll see? I don't understand this shit. Alright, I'll talk to you later, Patrick. Later. So, Kurt, did you hear? Sam says someone's gonna invest money into Chinatown Fair and try to reopen it. My 10 years of friendships with people and my 10 years of hard work on CF, you know, I was the one who built everything from the ground up. Players there won't respect the new owners, and this just blow the place up. No, when I'm open, that place will never make any money. Yeah. If I open it up, it will make money.
Chinatown Fair, the sign says it, we're sticking with it. You can't argue with a business that was successful for 35 years. And I think if they had rotated into what we're doing, they would have still been successful. You know, getting rid of all the red, I think was a great idea, like getting rid of all this. But I think this will be more family-oriented. When I was young, a friend of mine, Steve, and I, we took a trip to the Panama Canal. I was, I think, 19 years old. And all we did, and you know, I should show you, I have a diary that I took of that trip. And you know, all it talks about it. Well, we went to this arcade in Texas, and then we went to the one in Mexico City. And all we did is go from one arcade to the next. So I guess I was pretty arcade-oriented all my life, you know. You know, Chinatown Fair just seemed like a nice new venture to get into. Okay, I've had my grandchildren now living with me since they're 2 years old. They're my son's kids. And my son has his own challenges, so he's not able to take care of them. So, and their mother's been in jail for a year or two. So I've had my grandchildren now since they're 2 years old, and they keep me motivated. And one of the reasons I got Chinatown Fair. They said, Grandpa, do it. So I did it. They like going to the arcade, and they're going to be those guys hanging outside in front of arcades when they get older, I'm afraid. I've been doing magic since I was 10 years old. It's always been a hobby of mine, and that's my thing. I always carry something with me in one of my pockets. I guess back here, because I think maybe you're going to ask me to show you a trick.
I'd love to see a trick.
So I always have a trick on me. So I have a pair of hands. What do you see in my hands?
Nothing.
No, you got to look closely. If you look closely, you can see. I have to lick my hand to get it. Okay, and then we can see that there really wasn't nothing, but there was a little red silk scarf there. See that? Well, the ultimate goal with the arcade, as is most business, is to make more money. And so we're trying to find which pieces, which games will bring in more people. Teenagers are welcome here. We want them as much as anybody else, but we want to bring in the families. And to bring in the families, there's got to be more than just fighting arcade games. I don't know what we're going to do up front there. See all the graffiti on? I don't know if you saw, there's all kinds of graffiti outside on the gate. Gonna paint that.
When you first heard the arcade was reopening, what did you think?
Yay. That's what I thought. I was like, yes! Yes! Oh, yes! It's opening! Yes! Yes! That's what I thought.
Oh my God.
Oh, I see. But
he doesn't like teenagers hanging out there.
I guess I understand that.
No, Fruit Ninja and Guitar Hero, that's all I gotta say. Like,
it was the only way. Fruit Ninja, I got that shit on my phone.
We all have to remember that this is the beginning. The arcade just opened up and there is room for change. And I believe in the future there will be changes such as new games and a new way of running things. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing the future. I just hope, I pray that it's actually going to change.
If you had bought it, what would you have done here?
What I would have done here?
The Wizard of Oz is on its way here. It's got a 2-month backup.
I know. Wizard of Oz is very popular.
You've seen it?
I've seen it. Man, this industry is very hard. Like, President once told me, it's like, the worst thing you can do is open something that you love. Because you don't know when it's time to close the doors.
Good point.
Yeah, he told me that, and I was like, oh, so right.
No, Matt. No, Matt. What?
Hello, Lonnie speaking. How can I help you? No, you take words east. Away from the water. Away from the water. All right, bye.
I enjoy this business. long time ago. In the 90s, I enjoyed it. And
you gotta get back to enjoying it. If you enjoy it, then you never work a day in your life. That's the trick. You gotta enjoy it.
I do enjoy it.
Nice meeting you.
I do enjoy it. When Lonnie reopened CF, I thought it was a stupid idea. He doesn't know the fighting game community. I thought it would be risky because I'm open already and he's open. It just sparks more competition. I'm trying to make this community survive. It's been more than a year, but I want to survive longer. It's difficult, though.
It's not going to be Chinatown Fair. It's not going to be what it used to be. I mean, I'm going to go to see it just so that I can say I went, but I'm going in with more expectations.
I know that's exactly what I felt when I first came through. That's exactly what I felt. It's gone, man.
You used to come here for competition to face some of the best players in New York City, and now you come here and you spin to win. Can we leave?
What's that?
Are we done here? Thank God.
The reason I'm disenchanted with Chinatown Fair is the revenues have gone down 50% since we opened the first few months. The redemption games, of course, are the ones that give tickets like Spin to Win and Treasure Quest. They're just not making it. They're doing next to nothing. In fact, this machine right here was doing 15% of our gross, one machine, which is an amazing thing. And this machine has died to the point of where it only did a few dollars yesterday.
What games are doing well? Still sings.
$32,000, I better do something. You know, once it starts to come back, you know, I'll be re-enchanted. Oh, I'm sure we can come back. You know, I'm 95% sure we'll be successful long range. I mean, we've gotten quite a few different little communities that have formed. The DDR has a little afternoon crowd of teenage kids, boys and girls, mostly girls, that come and just play for an hour or so. And then later on, it's a whole different crowd that comes in, a different community, a different group, a little clique, 5, 10, 15 kids, mostly older, older kids. We got a new machine called Re-Rave that's doing phenomenal. We've got a big following. Sometimes 5, 10 people come in here and wait in line to play it every day. So anything relating to music seems to be doing very well, and we're going to probably get more musical games in the months to come.
This CF is catering towards a lot of the rhythm gamers, the music players, the dancers, a lot of that. I would say it's a little more friendly for girls. It's a lighter space. And I think it's a little safer space as well.
Slowly but surely, it's bringing the community back thanks to Beatmania. That's one game that's bringing a new kind of crowd in and poppin' music as well. Just 2 weeks ago, 3 kids came in, seeing me play Dance Dance Revolution Extreme. They were amazed by how I was playing it, and they really wanted to give it a shot. They really wanted to learn. It's really fun. It's a really great way to build a community.
Have you seen them come back?
Yeah, I actually have. I saw them come back last week. And they came back, they were playing by themselves. I saw them, said hi, we hung out for a little while. I taught them a few new moves. Slowly but surely, they're getting out of the whole joking around, oh, I'm just gonna stomp here and there, to a more, I'm gonna play seriously and I wanna have fun and show that I'm actually getting better.
Even though a lot of people do complain that it's not the old CF, it's still really fun. So I say that it's not such a bad place to be. I think it's a really good place.
Sure, I would like to see some of old people that used to come in, but that's not the reality. If you really think about it, there's no drama here. There's no people arguing about boyfriends or stupid stuff or what happened at this fight. No, it's just people just chilling, playing video games where an arcade's supposed to be.
You know how it works. Every week we expand a little more. Like more and more people know about the place. I see new faces every day. I'm personally getting more and more work days every day, so I'm happy. The place is growing.
I spent
Chinatown Fair, right?
I had like 30.
I honestly can't tell you what would be next. I'd like to be here when my hair is gray. Me, with arthritis in my left hand, still beating people in altitude. And the community is huge. Or it's back to what it was at the peak. Hopefully the games that come out support this and make this happen, because you can't do much without the games. You gotta have the games.
What challenged me is not the games itself, it's the people. To understand why people do the things that they do. Why do you go to the arcade and play the games is what fascinates me. Why do you have all this enthusiasm about the game? That's the mystery that I'm trying to solve.
Do you always play?
I'll always be playing. As long as there's another opponent that wants to play, I'll play with them. That's all that matters.
Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in as always. Spooky, of course, I want to thank Spooky for coming out and streaming. Yeah, he wasn't walking his toes. That's Ken. You protect your feet. Yeah, shut up. All right, good night.